Hello, 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 and welcome to Photo Finish, the Great Pop Culture Debates photo review of the looks from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13. I'm your host, Eric Resniak, and I am joined by my extra special guest host, Curtis Creekmore. Hi, Curtis. Can you believe we are almost to the end of this season?
It's been 84 years.
I thought the old lady dropped it off the boat at the end. We're so close. We're so close. It really has felt like a lifestyle watching this show this season. So I don't know about you, but I'm actually elated to be at
And
the
then to
finish
hear
line.
that the reunion isn't its own week. When Rue
Yeah,
last night was like, in 2 weeks, I'm like, oh my God, it's already been 4 years.
not only is the reunion next week, it's 2.5 hours long, ladies and gentlemen. The reunion itself is 2.5 hours long. So just a heads up, make sure that you've booked a spa appointment for Saturday. You're going to need a good massage. So
Wow.
with that being said, let us get right down to business. We are going to toot, boot, poot, shoot, and moot the looks of episode 14 from RuPaul's Drag Race season 13. The challenge was best drag. It's the last episode, and the girls had to show us what they've got, and I think they did. So, Curtis, our first queen up on the runway was Gottmick. What do you think?
I'm so glad that they saved Best Drag for last because in a couple other seasons they do it earlier
Yeah.
and it's been confusing results for sure. This, I think everybody really brought their A game. I really appreciate it, especially Gottmik. I like this look. I love that it's camp plus high fashion. Like it's both. It is absolutely both. Um, I loved the detail of leaving out the circles so that you could see her skin and then also in her face as well. That was so cool. I liked the hair giving you the Dalmatian look. It's a strong toot for me.
Yeah, it's a strong two for me. I almost shooted it, but I was like, it's not quite there. And there are
Mm.
others last night that were there. Um, what I love about this is it's taking her brand, which is the black and white clown makeup
Mm.
face, and it's turning it into a fashion garment. And the circles of cutouts are they. I'm like, part of me was like, this doesn't quite work, but also it elevates a look, which is just, oh, it's a polka dot thing, to something a little bit more interesting. And
Hmm.
I do think, even though they weren't as successful as I think maybe Gottmik was hoping, I think it was a really cool, elevated idea, and I think this is great. So it's a toot. We are going to also be sharing our thoughts on the Queen's chances, by the way, of winning the crown in 2 weeks. So with that being said, Curtis, where do you think Gottmik stands in the competition?
You know, coming into last night, I was like a respectable third, and she blew that video out of the water. I think she won the video. I thought her rap was the cleanest. It sounded the best. Her dancing was surprisingly on point, which
Mhm.
I was a little bit worried because they didn't show us much of the rehearsal. And going into it, I was like, oh, this is going to be a shit show. But you know what?
Mhm.
She turned it out. It looked
Yeah.
great. So honestly, I'm even more confused because she's never been in the bottom two. I think by design, thanks producers, but still,
Sure.
like she's been a strong contender throughout the whole thing. She won Snatch, she won the ball. I think she's got a decent chance. I think there are other people who have a better chance, but I would not be mad if Gottmik came away with the win, especially after that interview last night.
Yeah, I mean, how charming was Gottmik in that interview? Going into this week's episode, I had been saying that it's funny that I don't feel as though like the edit is putting Gottmik forth as a threat to win the whole season. Gottmik has been performing well. Gottmik has been solid. And in fact, in my opinion, Gottmik has done way better than I expected them to,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the performance challenges. And I've said that a lot in our blogs. By the way, read our blogs on our website, greatpopculturedebate.com/bonus. We have blogs for every episode. But I felt like Gottmik was receding into the background a lot over the course of the season. Last night, Gottmik was in full effect. There was a lot of spotlight on them, and I thought it was so lovely. Like I really vibed with Gottmik a lot, and I did think that if she didn't win the challenge last night, she was number two just by a hair.
Mm.
It was great, and I would be very happy with the Gottmik win. Do I think that's what's likely going to happen? I don't, but I think at this point, if you look at a top three, it's a very strong top three for
Yeah.
this season. And we've been bitching about this season all like I was bitching about at the beginning of this episode. But this is a very strong top three, and I thought it was an excellent top four episode, just FYI. So with that being said, we're going to move on to our next girl. It's Kandy Muse. What do you think, Curtis?
Speaking of a strong top three, um, I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I will be honest and say I have softened considerably on Kandy as a person. You all, any episode of this that I have been on, I have read her for filth. I think I said that she was an actively bad person. I do apologize for that. I hadn't eaten that morning. I still don't like most of what she brings to the stage. I don't like this. The arms, the sleeves look like the things that you buy for your hamster to run through, or maybe at like the American Kennel Association dog competition that they have to run through. That doesn't make a good look, and neither does a zip up corset. And it's not there. It's definitely not at the same level that literally everybody else on that stage brought last night. It's a soft boot. I would almost moot it, but I don't like it. So I'm going to give it a boot.
Hate Me America, I'm actually going to toot this. If we are talking about best drag for these queens, I think this is the best Kandy's looked all season. I think the only, that is a backhanded read, but it is meant with sincerity. I think Kandy looks really good here. I do think the makeup is too shiny. That is my one major critique. But between this to me is very similar to Kandy's promo look, which I also thought was very successful. And I think even though her style is kind of bangy, and I get that, this to me is the best she looks. It's when she takes these 1960s concepts and modernizes them and sexes them up a little bit. I think it's really fun. I love the colors. I love the hair. I think it's for me, it's exciting and it's fresh for Kandy. And I'm gonna toot this. I've also really come a long way on Kandy. And I think with that, I'm gonna pass it to Curtis for his ideas on where Kandy stands to win the competition. Is it possible?
No. Yes, it's always possible. It's RuPaul's Drag Race, right? Like we've been fucked over before. I stand by my thought that Kandy did not deserve to be here. Kandy should have gone home when she was told to sashay away. They should have just let her keep going. And that would have been it. She wasn't a first out, so she achieved that dream or that goal. That she did the best out of her house, her defunct house, I guess. But she has not performed nearly as well as other queens who are already gone, which is unfortunate. And I just think a producer may as well have been standing in the shot the whole time, because that's how Kandy got here last night and how she's going to the finale. Last night specifically, I thought I couldn't understand her. And I know that that's not necessarily her fault. You know, there are a lot of things that go into it. She has an accent already, but she also has a speech impediment, and that's something that you have to fight through. But if you're going to rap and you have both of those things already stacked up against you, you have to make concessions somehow, either do it slower or like very clearly enunciate every single word. And she didn't do that. The performance itself was okay. This look, not good to me. I don't see it. I don't understand how you could give Kandy the win when you have one of, if not the most talented and strong top threes of the series.
Yeah, I'm very similar place. I actually had reached out to Curtis earlier this week, and I was like, I think we need to normalize the concept of Kandy Muse winning season 13. And the reason I think we need to do that is if you accept that the producers have pushed her this hard, this far, and the only other queen I can think that they pushed this hard, this far was Pearl in season 7, I think you have to just entertain the possibility that they're just going to push her all the way to the win, kind of like Whitney in cycle 9 of Top Model. I know that's a throwback, but children, you understand what I mean. So here's the Kandy's really popular with a younger audience. Kandy's really popular with audiences of color, and I don't think you can discount that. I, like Curtis, just don't understand the allure, even in the interview with RuPaul and Michelle last night. And as I said, I've softened a lot to Kandy. I don't object to Kandy in any way, but I was just like, what are you seeing that I am not seeing? Like, they have to tell us every week, you're so funny, you're so funny. If you have to tell me she's funny all the time, then we have a problem, because I just, it does not vibe with me, but it does vibe with a lot of people. And I do think if you're a deep fan of the show, as I am, it's a good idea now to start entertaining the possibility that she could in fact win this whole thing, so that it does not destroy your love of this show overall. That's all I'm saying. Do I think she should win? No. This is a great top 3. It seems absurd to me that someone who is just not at the level that they are could possibly steal it from one of them. the closest thing you can come to is the Sasha Velour moment. Could Kandy Sasha Velour lip sync at the very end and take the whole thing? It could happen. So with that said, we're going to move along to Rosé. Curtis, what do you think?
I wanted to love this. I really, really did. I love what it stands for. My husband and I were recently watching a show on Netflix called Outlander, I think is what it's called. Takes place in Scotland.
It's
Really
Outlander.
interesting. Talks about like the history of the Scottish uprising. And so I have an appreciation for this look. I just don't love the execution. I didn't understand the bag. I didn't think it really went with the look. And I really didn't understand.
Can I explain what's going on with the bag there? That's a
Sure.
reference. There's a pouch that goes over kilts. And that's exactly what that is. It's like the elevated version of the pouch that goes over a traditional kilt. Just
did it have to be white? I guess is
traditionally no. They're all
okay.
leather, but I think this was a I'm girling up what is traditionally a very male garment.
I get it. I also really didn't like the offer length lace sleeve. It didn't go. I loved everything else. I really did enjoy the gown itself. I loved that she went with the red hair. I loved that it was in the rosé style of like big hair. Soft toot.
I'm going to fully toot this. I agree that the lace gloves threw me for a little bit because it didn't quite make sense with the overall aesthetic, but I love everything else about this. I think that gown is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. It's fashion. Rosé looked great in it. I thought the hair was a little bit stiff. Yeah, it's huge, but it was almost like a helmet in and of itself. And I thought it was a bold fashion moment on the runway, and that's what I want out of the best drag, right? And it doesn't always happen. I like Curtis mentioned earlier, he's glad that they saved it to the end. Sometimes when you save it to the end, the girls have nothing left in their wardrobe. She kept this in her wardrobe the entire time. That actually takes some balls, right? So I'm just gonna say that. It's for me, it's a toot. It is absolutely a toot. Curtis, what do you think of Rosé's chances for winning the whole thing?
It's going to be a horse race for sure. And it really, I think it comes down to a couple different things. Rosé is absolutely top two for me. Between her and Symone, it's going to be one of them. And I think it will depend on audience reception. So I do think that they'll take a look at all of the social media hashtags that they put out there and see who does the American and I guess the world want to win. But then also you have to take into consideration, who do you want to see on TV more? Because whoever doesn't win out of all of this group, all four, they're absolutely going to be on an all-star season relatively soon, I would say. Like maybe take a season off or so to make that coin and then come back a little bit later and destroy it. Whatever they're on, it's going to be amazing. And there are other storylines, like Gigi is Symone's sister in the House of Avalon. Let's put them on an all-stars together so they can fight it out. Let's put Rosé with Jan. I know that that's not a possibility, but that kind of thing. Like those are the things that I think producers are going to take into consideration. So I think Rosé absolutely could, and I wouldn't be upset if she did win. She's not my number one pick, but yeah, she absolutely could take this.
I think Rosé has a really strong shot. I think if you actually look at her performance, she has one of the strongest ever runs on the show any season. If she had not been in the bottom for the makeover with Tina, I believe she actually would have been the best statistically performing queen in the history of the show. I think what Rosé has going for her is the arc. She has been building. I think it's very attractive to have the started in the pork chop, ends up winning the whole thing. That's a saga, right? That is something that people need to get behind. They've created an underdog story for her that I don't think is frankly entirely true, because Rosé has been strong the whole time. She actually hasn't grown. Maybe she's loosened up, but I don't think she's grown. She's been very good the whole time. And in terms of when I look at what the winner brings to the winner's circle that's not already there, Rosé is a technician in a way that nobody else in the winner's circle is, and that's attractive. She is reliable. You know she's always going to execute, and she's going to knock it out of the park every time. I don't think she has the emotional heft to her story that any of the other members of the top four do, and I think that might hurt her chances. But I think if you're talking, if this was a meritocracy and we're talking strictly about you are winning based on your performance, I would give it to Rosé for the whole season. But do I think that's what's going to happen? My guess is she's going to be a lovely runner-up. That's my guess, but we'll see. With that said, let's move on to our final girl. It's Symone. And Curtis, what do you think?
I did not like this look when she walked around the corner because I thought that it was choir roby. And then she lifted her arms and I gagged. I literally gagged. It is everything. This is so stunning. It gives you shape, which I didn't see in the beginning. And that's why I was like, oh, another huge gown. But then she, like, you see the body and the hair and the makeup, and it's all just perfection, which is exactly what Symone brings to the stage every ball. And I gag every time because she is so, so good. I think she's in my top 5. Like, after every season, you know, my top 5 shuffles a little bit, but of all seasons, Symone is one of my favorite drag queens that has come through this show. I connect with her. I love the story that they gave her, which is really interesting. I didn't see like that dark horse type thing until last night. And yes, she was in the bottom. She's had to lip sync for her life a couple times, but I appreciated it because she was she's so good at lip syncing. So good. She absolutely destroyed the lip sync last night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she won the video. She absolutely destroyed the lip sync with the rest of them last night. So this to me is a shoot.
Yeah, it's a shoot for me. She said she wanted to serve us Black excellence on the runway. This is the definition of Black excellence. If you look it up in the textbook, by the way, textbooks are a thing that existed before Wikipedia.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. This is Black excellence. From the very crown of her head to the tips of her toes, there's nothing about this I would alter. Not a single thing. It is luxurious. It is womana. It is just absolutely breathtaking. And it was a moment. And I thought all of them did really well on this runway, but my God, this was a revelation. So total shoot for Symone. Curtis, what do you think about her chances to win?
We all thought that it was hers to lose because she had such a strong beginning, and then she faltered a little bit, and the producers capitalized on those faults. And last night I cried 6 times. It started with Forrest Gump, but so 5 times, I guess, for the show. And I think 4 of them were because of Symone and her story. Like, I connect with her on an emotional level because I know what it's like to not love yourself. And it's so heartening and amazing to watch someone actually realize that they are the shit and that they do love themselves. And it's so amazing to watch her have that journey coming from a little boy in Arkansas, little boy in Kentucky. Like, that's the story that I connect most closely with. And she's destroyed this competition. Even when she's done poorly, she lip synced her way out of it. It's hers. In my mind, this crown belongs to Symone.
I think that she is probably the front runner again. I would not be surprised if it goes to Gottmick. I thought last night Gottmick made a very strong case for themselves, but I think Symone is right now back in the pole position. I agree that the actual challenge performance this week was not terrific. She looked amazing in that video, and they were right. Like, that camera could not stop. You could stop watching her, but the verse wasn't terrific. Again, going back to what did they bring to the winner circle? I thought to myself, what does Symone bring? She's just really good at everything. She's gorgeous. She's glamorous. Did we just have that with Jada? But then I realized, remember Captain Planet? They all had the different powers, and one of them was heart. Symone is the heart of RuPaul's Drag Race. There is a soul and an emotion to her that I've never seen on the show. And sometimes there's a recency bias, but I genuinely don't think we've ever seen a drag queen open themselves. It's almost like an Oprah level empathic quality that she has to her that is really attractive, and it's magical. And so I do think Symone brings something very new and very fresh to that winner circle. And I think, based on the edit last night, she is the likely winner, but it all depends on those lip syncs, and those could go very wrong, as we've seen in the past. So I think Symone has the edge. I would say that the likely winners right now are Symone, then Rosé, Gottmick, depending if they get the fan vote, which Gottmick has incredible support on social media, and then Kandy if there's shenanigans. But I'm going to give it to Symone right now. But that being said, Curtis, you wanted to
do we know for certain that it's going to be a lip sync for your life, like, battle? Do we know anything about the finale?
What we know is that the reunion was mostly filmed remotely. So most of them are at their homes.
Hmm.
And we know that the final 4 did fly out. So I believe that they're actually going to be competing in person, but we don't know about the format. That's all I know.
Got it.
With this being said, Curtis, who's your top 2 of the week?
Symone. I mean, who else? Top 2 to the fucking season. Symone. Absolutely.
She's also my top 2 of the week, but it was a very strong week for the looks on the runway. And thank you to the queens of season 13. This top 4 episode was very strong, and I think this season needed it. I had been saying before, like, I don't have any interest in ever rewatching this season. It's gone on for 4 years. I already feel like I've given up half of my life watching it. This episode actually made me like, no, I'd be cool checking out the season again in like a year or so. So with that being said, thank you so much, Curtis, for joining me, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed our little photo finish, please make sure to check out our YouTube channel for other Drag Race content. We did all of these for UK 2, for Canada 1, and we will be doing them for Down Under as well, and Drag Race España, so I better brush up on my Duolingo. Make sure that you subscribe. That's super important. Make sure that you like and comment. And when you're done with that, please go over to greatpopculturedebate.com, our website, and check out our other content. We're going to be having our polls for season 4 coming up very soon. Season 3 is currently being released, and as of Monday, it's Best Muppet. So make sure you do check that out. We also have blogs in our bonus section for all the episodes of Drag Race. We hope that you join us, and you can right now join our viewer pools for Drag Race Down Under and coming soon Drag Race España. They're free to join. You pick your queens, we total up points, we do these little videos, we do blogs, it's a whole thing. And we hope that you will join us. So with that being said, we're out for now. See you next week. Bye-bye.